showed them the way how to, think about Akshobhya and transfer them towards the, Pure Land. And then when that's done, we also make offering to them of the smoke offering, a little bit of food and things like that. We burn them, smoke offering. And then we burn the nameplate, same way that we do funeral, when we cremate, when you make the cremation, the same kind of ritual you do. And that's the, the practice. So it's a kind of a whole ritual of kind of cremation from beginning to end. And this is usually done in the Tibetan system, is usually done almost any time you can do it. Not only during the 49-day, but, again and again. So that was what we did last night. Usually in this MONLAM kind of, whether it's in Bodh Gaya, which is done for 7 days, or other places for a weekend, we usually do it more at the end. We can't do it on the last day because there is MONLAM. So therefore we do it on the second day. But this time, because second day, there's another project, another program. So we did it yesterday on the first day. And so today, we did this morning the practice of 16 arhats. I think some of you know that when Buddha passed away, or before he passed away, he requested 16 most kind of accomplished arhats to remain a kind of alive, you can call it if you like, in different parts of the world, and then protect the Dharma, protect the people who are practicing Dharma, and along with their, group of arhats, and each one is surrounded by many arhats, many hundreds of arhats. So they are supposed to be there even now in different places all over the world. And, there is a story in China that one time a very good sponsor to the Dharma, very devoted layperson, requested or made prayers that they actually come, and so that everybody can see them. And they seem to, they actually appeared. They came in a very miraculous way. Some, riding different things, and you have seen this, the Chinese 16 arhats. They're in the whole Chinese kind of Buddhist traditional dress, not Indian. And they are, some are riding on dragons, and some are riding on all different kind of things. And this, this is something happened in China, but this is there from the beginning, the story of 16 arhats. So it is advised that wherever there is a monastery or some Buddhist community, especially ordained Buddhist community, they should sometimes practice this 16 arhat practice. And so the 16 arhats can, protect and help and influence and purify and, bless and things like that. So also this is supposed to be good for, the long life of great masters, and also to fulfill their wishes. So as you know, recently some of great masters in Tibetan Buddhism have also passed away. Yonzin Khenchen Tangpo Rinpoche passed away, and he is yet to be cremated. He will be cremated in the beginning of November. And as you know, he was one of the greatest masters of this time. He was the teacher of all the KAGYU teachers and masters in India who are alive now, including His Holiness the 17th Karmapa. And he has not only just that, but he has, made so many establishments, monasteries and shedas and, schools and things like that. And there is almost nobody in the KAGYU tradition, especially Karma KAGYU, who is not his student, his direct student. And he passed away in May. And then also Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who is one of the most revered Gelugpa master. He and Lama Yeshe, his teacher, came to West quite long time before, and almost all of the Gelug centers in the world are kind of connected with him or established by him. A very, very great master and very revered. And he also passed away. And then many others also. So we should also, this practice we do, and this MONLAM hall is also a kind of dedication towards them. And also that their reincarnation will come soon and be without any obstacles, and that all their great wishes and positive wishes are fulfilled. One of the important dedications we make is said to be that I wish that all the prayers and wishes and aspirations of great enlightened beings like Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, may they be, accomplished. May I be able to kind of help to accomplish that. Because sometimes, if we make a wish, sometimes these wishes can go wrong. There are two stories I know. One is very, very bad, and one is slightly better. I can tell one of them. Little better one. I think the very bad one is really bad. Really bad one is really not. the little better one, I tell. There was one man who was a weaver, and he needed a piece of wood for his, loom. And he went to the forest with an axe, wanting to cut wood. And then he saw one tree. So this is too big. This is too small. This is too nice. This is like that. So he went through the whole forest and didn't cut any wood. He came outside, the other side of the forest. And then the goddess of the forest was pleased by him because he came to cut the wood, but he didn't do it cut. So she appeared in front of him and said, I'm very happy, I'm very grateful that you came to the forest to cut a tree, but you didn't cut any tree. I would like to give you a wish. So tell me what you wish and I will fulfill it. So he got confused. And he was thinking and thinking and thinking, and he couldn't, he wanted to make a really good wish. He didn't know what to wish, so he couldn't. So he said, it's a very great opportunity, and I should really not miss this opportunity. But I don't know which wish should I ask for. But I have a friend who is quite much wiser than me. Can I go and ask him the question and come back? And she said, yes. You go back, you ask whoever you want to ask, and tomorrow at this time, exact this time, you come here and stand in this place, and then I will appear and I will give you the wish. So he went back and he found his friend and he said, if I get a wish, what should I ask for? He didn't tell complete story, I think. And he said, well, you are a weaver and you have not many hands, So if you have lots of hands, it would be very good because, then you can do much better work and, you need hands. So he thought, that's it. And then next morning he went back and then the goddess appeared and says, now you know what you want? Yes, he said, I want 2 more hands because, that's the problem with me. I don't have enough hands. I have to work myself and my 2 hands cannot do much. So if I had more hands, it will be, that's what my friend said. He says, are you sure you want hands to hands? He said, yes, definitely. That's what I need. And then like this, and then he had 4 hands. So he went home and everybody was afraid of him. And he went around, asking for work. Now I can do lots of work. I have 4 hands. But everybody saw this and was, ran away. So, it's not that bad, but it's quite, So therefore what we ask is, whatever, great beings like Manjushri and Avalokiteshvara and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and great masters and great beings, wish for, I also wish that, and things like that. So it's one of the, one tradition also, one tradition and good advice that we should. And even if we make a request or we make a dedication or ask for something for ourselves, usually it is said, I wish all my good wishes be fulfilled. Put that good one. Because sometimes we don't know what we wish. Anyway, that's beside the point, but that practice we did this morning. And as a general thing, we were talking about, to accumulate, when you make a dedication and prayer, it has to be supported by positive actions, we said. And then, the 7 positive actions, or 7 kind of what we call 7th branch practice, or whatever we call it. And this, we talked about prostration yesterday. Second is offering. Offering is, the word offering, chöpa, is an honorific word for giving. Offering is chöpa. Chöpa is an honorific for giving. When we say offering, sometimes people may think that we only give or only offer to very holy people, or for highly realized beings or things like that. It's not necessarily like that. The offerings we can make to anybody, but even if we make this offering to the most kind of destitute person, we don't give it with this idea or with this attitude of just kind of throwing out to somebody, but with the same kind of respect and a little bit reverence that we make offering to, because everybody, as we discussed yesterday, is worthy of respect. And so therefore, when we make offering or a gift also, it should be done with that kind of attitude. And if you do that, then it will become very good for the person who received them, but also good for us. Because, we don't do it with pride, or with, looking down, or with too much kind of competitiveness, but with genuine feeling of kindness and respect. Now this giving or offering, like prostration also, is also can be done with material gifts, material things that we can give or offer, anything that's useful, that is helpful, that is not harmful. And on top of that, then we can also do other gifts of our own kind of personal, like service with our body, speech, mind. Sometimes we say that, that we can do things to help anybody in any way with our body, with our speech. Speech is also regarded as a very important kind of media or important thing that we can give, because we human beings have a very special kind of quality or gift, and that's this speech. And so we also sometimes make lots of problems with our speech. we hurt people, we do lots of negative things also start with our speech. But it is a very important quality, and if we do it in a good way, it can be very, very useful and very, very powerful. So, with our speech, to give encouragement, to give, any kind of, confidence, to give protection, to give, advice, to give guidance, to give whatever with the speech. And then mind, that is, if we do anything with kindness and compassion, that would be a gift. Love, kindness, compassion, and things like that. So this, gift can be all different kind of things. So maybe we wouldn't, but even like, whatever we do, it's to see that this is something good for me and good for others, not harmful to anybody, and, things like that. Last Monday, we had a talk from Zosa Chenche Rinpoche, and there was one question asked. It was called 10 inconvenient questions. Unluckily, he couldn't finish all 10, but one of them was, should Buddhists engage in, social activities, wasn't it? Yes. And this is a question sometimes asked. And Rinpoche said, that once one person asked Tigme Chenche Rinpoche, and he asked, should I do social service or should I go on retreat? And Rinpoche said, you go on retreat. That's much better helpful. So this is, it's not really, from Buddhist point of view, it's not that should I do this or should I do that. This is actually very important. It's about time. It's about your situation. It's about the situation. They call it, near to, place, the time, your own situation, what you can do more better than this or that. It's not a kind of a general question that all Buddhists should be active. Active in what? We can be very active and also be not very productive but destructive also. And also we can be very good intention and lots of activities, but we are not qualified. Like if I am not a qualified doctor, but I am very enthusiastic to heal, and I try to make operations, it would not be that great, So therefore, this is very important because from Buddhist point of view, it's like that. It's not just what Buddhists should do or not. The Buddhists should think, what is the best way I can be of use and help? If I can do something, if I, there is need for something, and I have these qualifications and qualities and the situation, and then, I do that, then I should be doing that. Even not go to the retreat or do things like that, but I can't see anything that I can do at the moment which I am qualified or I might be able to help. And then I say, I'm going to do lots of social work, but I can't do anything actually that would be very much useful. Then maybe, of course, it's much better if I did my own practice, but even if I couldn't do practice, if I kept quiet, that will be less problem. Sometimes it's much helpful that you are not there. Sometimes I found it myself many times. It is much better help if I'm away than I'm there. Then if I'm away, it's much better help. So then why should I, so this is not a kind of a question like that. Of course, we should have this motivation and aspiration to do something that is useful and helpful and good for this people, for as many people as possible. And then now it depends on what I can do or what I will be able to do. And then if I see that, then it's that's what I should be doing. But if I do my own practice and if I really, it's not just like going away and having a nice time in a very beautiful, nice place, which I call retreat. That's that depends. The retreat depends on what kind of retreat you do. Also, if I know exactly how to practice, and if I, am able to do that practice well, and if I know that I have some understanding that this will be really useful and good for me, and if I can really transform myself, that could be actually very good for lots of people. For eventually, I have to transform myself to be able to make great help. At this moment, I can do some things, but how great I can do is depending on my ability, and to to enhance my ability, the more I am more I am kind of advanced in myself, more wisdom, more compassion, more positive kind of energy, the more I can do. No, so therefore so in this way, it's not necessary that somebody doing, just completely in the solitude and doing some retreat doesn't mean that this person is not helpful to the society also. But somebody who is very, very busy is not necessarily also very helpful. So it's depending on that. But this giving is is important. Giving actually means it has to be with the intention to help, to make an offering, like making an offering, like in this. When you make offerings in the in the prayers and things like that, of course we are mostly doing it in our mind, but that's how we first train in the mind. I think most of you heard the story of how Anathapindika became Anathapindika. Anathapindika was the most generous person among the Buddhists during the Buddha's time, and he was not that generous in the beginning. It is said that he came and told Buddha one day that you talk about this generosity thing, and I'm not really interested in that. I'm not generous. I'm a businessman, and I don't like giving. And Buddha said, but you can train. He said, no, I can't train. I don't want to. Buddha said, well, do you want to give to yourself? He said, yeah, of course, I want to give to myself. That's no problem. And Buddha said, in that case, do one thing. You go home and get something a little bit precious in your right hand and give it to your left hand and say, take it. And then again give it to your right hand and say, take it. Do that. So he was a little curious, I think. He went home and took the kind of piece of gold. He had so many of them. And then gave it to his left hand and said, take it. He knew that it was given to himself. But when he said, take it, he felt a little bit, not so kind of great. So it became like a challenge, and he was doing it, take it, and take it, and take it, like this. And after a few days, after a few days, he thought, maybe I should invite Buddha for a lunch. He didn't think of that before. So he went to Buddha and he asked to come for a lunch, and he came. And then he gave lunch, and Buddha enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. His family enjoyed it. And Buddha gave a little teaching, little dedication, and he was very happy. Everybody was happy. So he thought he needed to invite him again. So he used to invite Buddha a few times again and again. And one day he thought, why don't I invite the whole Sangha of Buddha? Because I can afford that. It's not a big deal. So he went and asked the whole Sangha of Buddha, can you please come? They said they're very happy to come. And then he gave them food and, clothes and whatever. And they enjoyed, he enjoyed, his family enjoyed, it was very nice. And this way he became more and more and more. And then he supported, I think 40 times or something like that, the, summer retreat in India. During summertime, it's monsoon time, it's raining, and it's not, you can't travel. Otherwise, Buddha used to travel all the year, with his Sangha. But during monsoons, he used to stay one place. And for all this, I think almost, how many kasete? Most of his monsoon he spent with this Anathapindika's place. And so therefore, and then he not only did that, then he started to, give things to the, medicine. He established hospitals, he established dharamshala, that means like hostels, travelers kind of place. He also made hospitals for the animals, all kind of things. He came to be known as Anathapindika. Anathapindika means the one who gives food to the people who don't have their protector. So this, but this comes from training. So if, if we do it with our mind, it's like, then maybe tomorrow you want to invite me to lunch. Next day, all Sangha here. Anyway, so that's offering, yeah. And then third is purification. Sometimes it's called confession, but I don't like this word confession, because confession is just, confessing that I've done something wrong. Hyakpa in Tibetan is like splitting from, The Hyakpa word is like, if you, this block of wood, if you put axe and what do you call it? Huh? There's another word. Chop off, yeah, or something like that. So Hyakpa is to make it separate from, So all these negative things that we have, negative things we have, and negative activities we have done, all those things I want to take away from me and, kind of separate from me. That is Hyakpa. I think the word more suitable is purify, So this purification is another positive action, another way of accumulating positive deeds. And here, what we do is, of course, all the negative things that we have done. From Buddhist point of view, all our, sufferings and problems come from, negative emotions, Like, for instance, we are having wars, and war is one of the worst things in the world. It kills so many people. It destroys so much, and there's almost nothing more destructive and negative than wars. You do almost anything to harm each other. That's why they say, what they say? Anything goes for war and love, isn't it? Something like that. All is fair for in love and war, I don't know about love, but in war. So, even if you do the most unimaginable and most, what can you say, negative thing that people usually cannot accept, if you do it during war, it's accepted. That's impossible, no? And then, if you look into the history of humankind, it's more or less the history of wars. And sometimes we even kind of make it like glorious. We put just a very nice way the story of the victors and forget all others. And then People want to be, I want to go for war. I want to become a conqueror. I want to become a hero, But why do we make war? We make war because of hatred. Yeah, basically hatred. And we bring hatred in everybody's. We arouse hatred in people's minds and hearts, and then otherwise, who would go to war? You need to be ready to die. Hatred, sometimes inspired by greed, because you want to get something from it. Sometimes, envy, jealousy, sometimes misunderstanding, sometimes, ego, sometimes just, totally like those kind of, all negative emotions. Of course, they say, I'm doing it for the good of many. I'm doing it for the truth, for the whatever. They always give some fantastic reasons, but actually it's like that. If we didn't have, or people who instigated didn't have negative emotions, we wouldn't have war. So therefore, this is just an example. All negative, all things that we do that is problematic and brings harm and suffering and negative things is inspired, is, coming from negative emotion. So therefore, we need to try to lessen our negative emotions if we need to transform that, Even, the scientists believe now, even for the, for the environment and things like that, climate change and things like that. One great scientist from Britain in Oxford University was saying that in the beginning, this climate problem is a scientific problem. The scientist can solve this problem. But now I understand that it is not something the scientists can solve, because it's not just a scientific problem. It's a spiritual problem. It's a social problem. It's how people, way of thinking. People need to change their way of being, because it's a greed who's making all this, So unless people become less greedy and more contented in their way of living, this cannot be stopped or reversed. So he said, we need help from everybody, the religions and all kind of. So it's like that, People have to change. Means the way we react, way we see, way we kind of react. So therefore, all these problems in the world, in our own life, in the society, everyone, behind every problem is some of our negative emotions, And of course, a very strong one is our, ignorance and not knowing, So therefore, if we need to purify that, we need to try to understand first these negative emotions. We need to do something about that a little bit. And then when we can do a little bit on that, work on that, it will automatically lessen our negative activities, actions, because our negative actions are, forced by our negative emotions and habitual tendencies. And, unless we do something there, it is not possible to lessen that. So therefore, this is the main thing. And so this is one of the main practices in Buddhism. And, if we work a little bit that is regarded as, or we make a little bit of a kind of aspiration or some kind of a, some kind of a commitment or some kind of a decision that I will try to work on this a little bit. And that becomes another very strong kind of a positive condition that when we make dedications and prayers, it will become, powerful, successful. Then, Jesu Irang. The next is what we call rejoicing. Rejoicing is regarded very important in Buddhism, and it's actually the opposite of envy and jealousy. It's like, of course, in the prayers, we said that we really rejoice at all the great, beings, enlightened beings, great bodhisattvas, arhats, whoever, that they have, they've done these great purifications and great achievements and things like that. Great, but then we also can rejoice at anybody who has done something good, who has received something good, who has some good qualities, Instead of becoming jealous and envious and competitive, like we talked about yesterday, too much this competition is, there is a way of competition, I think. Some people told me that if I'm not competitive, then I cannot progress. I become totally like, I'm the worst. Everybody, I would have no intention to succeed, or, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. You can aim for excellency. You can aim for excellency. You don't need to, pull down your friend's legs. Yeah. What we call competition here and jealousy is just pulling down your own friend. You don't know what great beings and others are there. Just you look at your next thing. He is doing a little bit better. She is doing a little bit better. And then at the best, I am a little bit better than my friends. Yeah, it's nothing good. They said that, if the pillars and beams support each other, there can be houses built. Yeah. Nowadays, even 100 stories and more. So if we help each other and support each other, it's much better, then everybody can go forward and progress, Instead of we pulling each other's legs, if we push each other's, up, we all can become much more, better. And somebody said that there is no dearth of space at the top. At the top, there is all the space. We don't let anybody go up. That's the problem. So therefore, I can make myself as best as I can. I can compete for my own excellency in any field. I don't have to try to pull down others. When we have that understanding and attitude, then we don't have to be jealous. If I have a friend who is very good, that is good for me. That's not bad for me, because I can ask for his help. I can, he might even, I can learn from him or her, and I can also support him. And if he is very good, it's good for all of us. If I have lots of very good friends and very talented friends, which I have, we have so many talented people actually. Yeah. We Buddhists are not that untalented actually. We look a little bit chaotic, a little bit chaotic, and maybe they're not that well dressed. But lots of talent is there, really lots of talent is there. Yeah. Anyway, that's beside the point. It's not beside the point, actually. It's also very good, it's very good. I think sometimes I feel that we are not able to, what can you say, use all the talents that we have, because it could be really a lot. But the main thing here is that, if you rejoice at somebody's positive things and somebody's qualities and somebody's talents and somebody's, then that talent, that, can be, can become much more, what can you say, used, much more cultivated, much more, it will benefit everybody. That person's talents and that will also help everybody, And not only that, but if somebody achieves something, that's very good for me, it's not bad, If I have a neighbor who has a nice car, what's wrong? It's better for me, I probably, if I'm in a kind of in emergency situation, I can at least ask to drive me, yeah. And I've been nice to him and appreciating, he has a nice car, and so he said, "Oh, I'm so happy you have a nice car." And then if I really showed that my happiness and rejoicing to him, he would be happy, and he would become my friend, I don't need an enemy as my neighbor. I need a friend as my neighbor. No, so if I'm rejoicing, then he will like it and he will become my friend. And then if I'm walking around, he might stop his car and say, "I can give you a lift." Yeah. At least, that's better than he tried not to see me. And then I can say, his car, and that spoils my own day and maybe my health. Every time I look at his car, It's not useful, no? So that's why, it is, I think it is said like this, that if you want to be happy all the time without any expense, then rejoice. Yeah? Because you can always, oh, she's nice dress. Oh, I'm so happy. Yes, so nice something, and I'm so happy. And it's done something very good. I'm so happy. I could be happy all the time, no? And if you want to be unhappy all the time for no reason, you can be jealous, and that, you know, that's besides the, that's in our life. And Buddha said that if you rejoice at somebody doing some positive thing, if somebody is doing a very good Dhamma practice, for instance, I'm too lazy and I don't do. But I rejoice, I really rejoice at him. I get the same amount of positive karma. Buddha said it. So I took it literally, truly. I'm doing nothing, I'm not jealous. I rejoice very much, So I hope I'll get the good karma. This story from, I think everybody knows now by now, I think, but I'll tell it again. This Prince Jeta, Prince Jeta was a prince in this locality where Anathapindika was. And Anathapindika bought this big piece of land from Jeta and then offered it to Buddha. And then later on, the Jeta became also, a student of Buddha and very good sporter. And one time, Jeta was, kind of sponsoring one of these summer retreats. And he did extremely generously and very nice. That time Buddha had lots and lots of students and monks and nuns and also lots of, kind of other people, poor people, things like that. He gave them all shelter, we gave them food and drink, clothes, medicine, everything they needed. And at the end, then, it was custom to ask Buddha for dedication, and Buddha would take the name of the sponsor and then dedicate. But this time Buddha asked him, by whose name should I make the dedication? By the name who is the sponsor or by the name who actually accumulated the most positive karma? So he didn't understand this kind of question. If the one who actually sponsored should earn the most positive karma. But he says, please dedicate it by the name of the person who has done the most kind of positive karma. So when Buddha came to dedicate, he took the name of a beggar, old lady, who was sitting at the gate, but didn't do anything. She didn't lift her hands. She didn't, help in any way. She was just sitting at the gate and receiving everything. And then everybody was kind of surprised. What has happened, Does Buddha forget things, or what has happened, Then they ask Ananda, his caretaker, Buddha's kind of assistant, please ask Buddha why he's doing this. And then Ananda went to Buddha, and he asked, in front of everybody, why did you give this dedication in the name of this beggar lady? She's here. She's at the gate. She took part in. She received everything that everybody received. She didn't do anything. She was just sitting there and enjoying it. But why you took her name as the first one? Buddha said, yeah, I did this purposefully. Because I know that everything that is, was sponsored by Prince Jeta, and he did such a wonderful job. He was so generous and things like that. He was very, very, very good. That's I know. But she really, really rejoiced at that. She didn't do anything. She didn't do any particular thing, I know. But she really, really rejoiced at this. And so therefore, Prince Jeta and the beggar lady, they kind of earned the same amount of positive karma. And then the Prince Jeta, he did it really with good intention, and there was nothing negative. But he had a little bit like pride that, I've done really well and nobody could have done it better, like that. And because of that little kind of pride, it was slightly down. And that the lady doesn't have, this. The beggar didn't have any pride, of course, because she didn't do anything. So therefore, her kind of amount of positive karma was even more than the Buddha's. Yeah. So that's why I did. So maybe it was a way to teach, but this is, so rejoicing is one of the best ways of accumulating merit, from Buddhist point. And there's no expense at all. Neither, activity, So even the most lazy person can do it, So I totally giving all my hope on this. I can say that I was not, I was never I don't have that jealousy kind of trait too much. So I base all my hope on this rejoicing. Meanwhile, I'm also happy, You can be happy, rejoice at everything, and then, so this is rejoicing. So this, So anyway, I think we have to stop here. And so thank you very much. And there's, so this is now dedication, our dedication. There's a dedication, short dedication for the living and then for the dead. Sorry. So when I come to the each section, then Umje will say, just to like say yes, I say we do this, and then you say repeat the last word.
Shu jana yubi sanjo do shu samba tangje dala gongso so ganda semana dala gongso so da kama jale kama suchum jimin chenle xie jibi che to ma me pa ne tanga tata la tuke pate jambale shonga do sore le shonga do kambale shonga gewe chaba jipa jitu tsawa do jipa le jisu yoromi gewe tsawa do chepa de te chige wala koncho la chepa pa wa do gena la nyenge shi pa do pa le de jembe kancha pa do shi shona to ma po Jumbo la toma toma tong yunma nyeri la tuemo choma la soba ge zama de jema tamba senji je senji yo chen na jo su tenji jo kembo do lo do pama pama tong ha do mi ngen don do war shi pin ta ye pe senji da jo chen da namba ta je je nga sonji to bar je je sonji to bar je je sanji to bar je je Te ma doji pada zyanan de zyanan tangjene tangya paso tsubi muli to pari churji. Muli to ni jo deba jimbi kiwi yedon che pari churji. Te danga do jinsi tenpa no ne te beba la shadon nonga pada. Pachi tangji mechi munji wado chachi jimbo chuga gandri to pa churji. Te kona yende churji. Te kona yende churji. Te kona yende churji. Shu yana kibi zonje do jinje samba to nekin chelin di ba. Nga tam je je su gong su so genda tse ma na. Chelin di ba da da la gong su so yan chelin di ba da da. Tu san do sabi gewi zawa jamba le shonga do tsare le shonga do gamba le shonga gewi zawa jiba do jelu zawa do jiba la jisa yonga gewi zawa. Shunan jiba do jani Rewa namje tselin deban dodo ke tanda kancho lan che bato kenda lan niku chi bato ka hiraji parado shenpa chakpa to chishon la toma pa. Jumbo la toma toma do yama nyeri la tuema chonga la sopa gewe tsawa chi shen tselin deba. Kati li jongwa gendo wa riru kondo kondo she jo gewe tsawa tedo te shi yenda. Hyuki shi yenda no nendo wa riru ku dengan tada do tanda tanchur mili posan sopa to pari chur chi. Mili tani je kanso san je tate pari chur chi. Kanchu san je tate ni kanchu san la tepa to pari chur chi. Kanchu san la tepa to ne chi sha sun chua to xe xe tine la pe yenda tala la. Namba tangje jembe sonje to pari chur chi. Namba tangje jembe sonje to pari chur chi. Namba tangje jembe sonje to pari chur chi. Te kona yendu chur chi. Te kona yendu chur chi. Te kona yendu chur chi.
Gunjo sumla chan salo deya da benzad awa boda naya sowa deya da naksha da sarva tita shatri na meza meda dani bavandu sowa gunjo sumla chan salo deya Rajamba Yandaba Zobe Sanje Nambara Nanze La Chanzalo Papa Chanje Zemba Chenpo Tuje Chenpo Dan Denpa Namje Nyembo La Chanzalo Dia Da Benza Dewa Opa Da Naya Zoba Dia Da Dewa Dia Da Benza Dewa Opa Da Naya Zoba Dia Yada benzi rao moda naya so vai choga den den jue je na pa pa she ra je parol do shimba la ne bai de tam je dan ge dan lo je tam je je me thong wa je ro che we tu je na pa pa se pa do me pa thong wa de je je ba nam da jang je sen ba tam je thong wa je MONLAM jitara daba jindo nore jo ro izuna inde ye tamje sewa nye nore ebe chana pamje gega naje bala inchoba ye sebe sol jawa jawa jo
Cảm ơn thầy, cảm ơn Rinpoche, cảm ơn cô thông dịch, cảm ơn mọi người đã tham gia.